Hi everyone, today we will be discussing an infamous killer whose own death left more questions than answers. Brynhild Paulsdatter Storsett, later known as Belle Gunness, was born in Selbu, Norway on November 11, 1859. She emigrated to the United States in search of wealth in 1881. In 1884, Belle married Mads Sorensen, and the couple ran a candy store in Chicago, Illinois. Mysteriously, their candy store and home burned down, but luckily they had insurance on both properties and collected a payout. Belle and Mads had 2 babies who also perished. The cause of death was said to be acute colitis, which was also covered by their insurance policy. Mads died soon after the children. Luckily for Belle, his death happened on the one day when his 2 life insurance policies overlapped and gave her the maximum payout. The doctor stated that his death was due to an enlarged heart, but his family accused Belle of poisoning him for the insurance money. With suspicion swirling around her, Belle left Illinois and used the life insurance money to purchase a farm on the outskirts of LaPorte, Indiana. Belle found love again with another Norwegian expat by the name of Peter Gunness. The pair married on April 1, 1902. Within 1 week, Peter's infant daughter from a previous marriage mysteriously died while in Belle's care. By December, Belle was widowed again. She claimed Peter had met with a fatal accident when a heavy meat grinder fell on his head and crushed his skull. However, her adopted 14-year-old daughter, Jenny Olson, told a classmate, "My mama killed my papa. She killed him with a meat cleaver to the head, and he died. Don't tell a soul." Jenny, the child, was brought before the coroner and denied ever saying such a thing. Then Belle told her story and convinced him of her innocence. This charade did not end well for Jenny. Belle informed everyone she was sent to a finishing school in Los Angeles, but the horrible truth would be uncovered years later on the grounds of the farm. Single yet again, Belle used her farm, feminine charms, and remaining children to entice wealthy men to her home. Belle also put out personal ads in newspapers across the Midwest. One ad reads as follows: "Personal comely widow who owns a large farm in one of the finest districts in LaPorte, Indiana, desires to make the acquaintance of a gentleman equally well provided, with a view of joining fortunes. No replies by letter considered unless sender is willing to follow answer with a personal visit. Triflers need not apply." Men began to show up for scheduled visits to the farm. One potential suitor, John Moe of Minnesota, brought stacks of cash with him to prove his worth to the widow Gunness. Weirdly, John went missing, never to be seen again. More male suitors followed, and more went missing. Belle was busy spending her money on large wooden trunks. One delivery man was quoted as saying that Belle was able to heft these trunks onto her shoulders as if they were boxes of marshmallows. Neighbors noticed some odd yard work that Belle was doing. She was digging in her hog pen all hours of the night. Male suitors were still showing up, signing over deeds, handing over cash, checks, and bank accounts, then vanishing into thin air. Belle's method to entice these men was a mystery, but a clue exists in a letter that was found on the farm, and addressed to the late Andrew H. "To the dearest friend in the world. No woman in the world is happier than I am. I know that you are now to come to me and be my own. I can tell from your letters that you are the man I want. It does not take one long to tell when they like a person, and you I like better than anyone in the world. I know. Think how we will enjoy each other's company. You the sweetest man in the whole world. We will be all alone with each other. Can you conceive of anything nicer? I think of you constantly when I hear your name mentioned, and this is when one of the dear children speaks of you, or I hear myself humming it with words of an old love song. It is beautiful music to my ears. My heart beats in wild rapture for you, my Andrew, I love you. Come prepared to stay forever." Only one suitor who met with Belle survived to tell the tale. George Anderson from Missouri came to the farm and had a lovely get-to-know-each-other dinner. Belle confessed that she was having trouble paying her mortgage, and as a means to impress her, he promised that he would pay off the mortgage if they decided to wed. Belle was unimpressed by this statement. Hours later, Mr. Anderson awoke to Belle looming over his bed with her face twisted into a look of pure hatred and disgust. Once she realized he was awake, she ran from the room. He took this opportunity to flee from the farm, which saved his fortune and, more importantly, his life. One too many men went missing, and their families wanted answers from Belle, but her sweet pony words did not dissuade them. On April 28, 1908, a fire ripped through the farm where Belle lived with her 3 children. Once the fire was out and the smoke cleared, local authorities found the bodies of the 3 children and that of an adult woman. In an even more bizarre twist, the woman's corpse was missing its head. They presumed this was the body of Belle Gunness, whose criminal behavior began with a fire that destroyed her candy store and home and ended with a fire ending her life. This wasn't the only horror found on the farm. A dozen men were called in to dig up the land, which was a suspected burial ground. The body of Jenny Olson was unearthed, as well as the bodies of 2 children and countless suitors. It is estimated that Belle killed between 13 and 42 people. The horrors unearthed on that farm earned her the nickname the Laporte Ghoul and Lady Bluebeard. Even though Belle was gone, her handyman, Ray Lampier, was not. He hoped to woo Belle and become her life partner. He was jealous of the suitors who showed up to meet Belle. Months prior to the fire, Belle had fired him, and even tried to have him committed, insisting he was a threat to her and her family. After the farm burned down, he was brought in as a suspect and convicted of arson. While in prison, he didn't admit to killing Belle and her children. Instead, he claimed she was a serial killer and that she was still alive. According to Ray, Belle had killed her suitors by poisoning their dinner coffee, and when they were doped up, she would split their skull as she had done with her second husband, Peter. Ray claimed she would drag the bodies to the basement to butcher, and then she would bury some body parts and feed other parts to the hogs. Ray believes that when suspicion became too much to handle, Belle gathered up all the money she had stolen, smothered her children to death, and fled the area for good, leaving a corpse that resembled her behind to convince the authorities that she was dead. This headless corpse was said to be that of a woman from Chicago who had been promised a job as Belle's housekeeper. Sightings of Belle were reported up until the early 1930s. So what do you think? Did this Black Widow die a fiery death? Or did she run off with her ill-gotten money and start a whole new life away from prying eyes and suspicion?